Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Dr. Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is always a pleasure to be right here on Real People, Real Voices with my friend.
And we have other friends who are helping us to be on. If you could go down through the list.
Yes, Lee Cussell and Crawley are with us. Fervent Prayer Christian Academy, Owl's Mouth and Clothing and Shoes, His Place Eatery, Northwest Window and Gutter Cleaning, and Martin University help keep us on the air.
And certainly we thank God for all of them. Also want to encourage you all to go to YouTube, WHMV TV 40. You can watch this show when it's over, as well as some that you might have missed. And please
watch us on Facebook. Yes, sir.
We've got an extraordinary guest coming up, an esteemed guest coming up here in just a few moments, Dr. Virginia Kane, the Marion County Health Department. We'll be talking about the vaccine.
Our own personal Surgeon General. We're happy to have her. She's doing an outstanding job in Marion County.
And we're just so proud of her and the work that she's doing. So stay with us. If you want to know more about at what point you will be able to be vaccinated, should you want to, you're going to find out all about it in this show. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices, and we are joined by the esteemed Dr. Virginia Kane. Good to have you on the show today.
Well, it's always an honor to be on a show with two of my favorite pastors, and so what can I say? I have to be sharp on my game when I'm talking with you guys, so I feel alive, you know. God is really wonderful. He's praised me to be among the people who have the pulse of their community. So thank you for this opportunity.
Surgeon General, we're happy to have you today.
I have to tell Jerome to scoot on over.
You've been taking care of us really, really well, putting out the information that we need to keep everybody safe, and we certainly appreciate that. And of course, since last we all spoke, we were talking about the virus itself. And now we have the vaccine that is being distributed. We had hoped that it would be distributed a little bit faster. Talk to us about, let's start with the distribution of it. Of course, our federal government had hoped to have several millions of people vaccinated by January 1st. That didn't quite happen. There's a lot of talk about how slowly this thing is happening. How are we planning to catch up here in Indiana and get the rollout moving?
So let me just say one thing, the first thing. So it was a remarkable accomplishment to have a vaccine developed and available at all in a 9-month standpoint. Prior to this, it took us 4 years to develop a vaccine. And we've known for years and decades that we needed to have a faster process, especially when we saw the H1N1 influenza outbreak, and then Ebola scared us to death. And so we've actually been working about 20 years on working on a new technology, new platform to speed the process up. And I'm happy to say that we were at a stage where we were ready to use it for this new vaccine. And I want everybody to know that one of the leading scientists at NIH that worked on one of the vaccines, Moderna, was Dr. Corbetta, and she's an African-American female, sharp as heck. And we've just been fortunate. She helped with the company to develop this vaccine, one of the vaccines. Now, what happened in terms of the hope that we'd have all those millions of vaccines by January the 1st? Everything was on track with Pfizer, and they met their timeline to appear before FDA, as well as after it goes approved through the FDA, it's got to be approved through CDC. They have like about all these experts that are experts in vaccines all over the country have to approve it too. And so Moderna didn't quite make get their emergency authorization from FDA like we expected. So they were like about a week or 2 weeks delayed. And so that delayed getting all of the vaccines we thought we were going to get from Moderna before January the 1st. So, these things happen, challenges pop up. The numbers are not quite there like they did, but I think we're going to be okay.
Dr. Kane, what is it that you are anticipating the community begins to realize and can do to help this vaccination move in the direction that you'd like to see it move?
We are hoping that right now we've been trying to get the vaccine out to the people who are at the highest risk for contracting COVID-19, but who are the highest risk for hospitalization, being on the respirator, intubated for weeks, and dying. So we're trying to reach those individuals first, but also you got to have healthcare workers, in those intensive care units, in those emergency rooms, in essential healthcare workers to take care of them. So we targeted first, recommendations also coming from CDC, we targeted our essential healthcare workers, not all healthcare workers, but the essential ones that are seeing the patients all of the time. I may have a healthcare professional, he never sees a patient. So those are not on our list initially for essential healthcare workers. And then folks who were seniors, elderly, were dying, and they took almost about 40% of our hospitalizations and our deaths occurring in them. So we wanted to get everyone in a long-term care facility, assisted living, in taking care of them. And then the third group was our long-term care individuals, folks in ambulances that are bringing you, the EMT guys related to that. We have also added for the emergency folks, we added our firefighters have a lot of EMTs related to that. But we also know that a lot of times IMPD will pick up patients and have to carry them to the hospital settings. So we've also are vaccinating our law enforcement sheriffs, IMPD police officers locally, and we're also vaccinating correctional officers. So people that are taking care of the folks in the jails and our prisoners. Now, you heard an announcement over a week ago that we've now added, we're starting the age counter route and giving vaccinations. So you saw that our goal was to vaccinate everybody 80 and above, okay? And so we're very pleased about that. And they're going to eventually do it in phases also with age. So they're going to go, once the State Department of Health has made the decision that enough vaccinations have been given, taking care of the people 80 and over, they're going to go to the next age group, which is 70 and older, okay? And once they think that they've got a substantial number of people who are 70 and older, we're going to eventually go to 60 and older, okay? Vaccinating folks. But we're going to try to do it as quickly as possible, but it depends on the number of vaccines that the state of Indiana is able to get from the federal government for us to dispense out in Marion County. As you know, this week, for some of you who may realize this week was the first time we are kicking off the vaccine being finally able to be dispensed by the local health departments. And so Marion County Health Department dispensed this first vaccine yesterday. And I wanted to have an opportunity to talk about that.
But talk about it. Go on and talk.
Well, let me just tell you this.
Before we get into it, we've got to take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk more about how that's going to be taking place and much more. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, and we are joined by Dr. Virginia Cain, Marion County Health Department. Just before the break, Dr. Moore encouraged you to talk about the vaccines that are going to be dispensed by the Marion County Health Department. Talk to us about that.
Right, so we currently have two vaccines. One is called Pfizer, P-F-I-Z-E-R, P-H-F-I-Z-E-R, and another one is called Moderna, M-O-D-E-R-N-A. So Pfizer is P-F-I-Z-E-R, sorry about that, and Moderna, M-O-D-E-R-N-A. Both of them are vaccines that you receive in your arm, but there are two doses. So one of them, you get that dose, and then 21 days later, you need to come back and get the second dose. And then once you get the first dose, they'll give you an appointment for your time you come back for the second dose. The other one, you come back and get a second dose on 28 days later, okay? And so we started out in Marion County with only just the hospitals having the vaccine, because one of them, Pfizer, requires this ultra cold storage unit. You're like minus 98 degrees Fahrenheit for you to store the vaccine. And so, and those things are expensive. You're talking about probably somewhere around about 60,000 or something like that for that particular unit. And so only the hospitals had that type of capacity. But the second vaccine, Moderna, requires a simple refrigerator. And so the health departments across Indiana are now dispensing the vaccines for the public.
And you're excited about that. You're excited about that.
I am excited about that. We opened up our vaccines Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We operate from 8 to 5 p.m. No, not, it's 8 to 5 p.m., right. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we operate from 10 to 7 p.m. And on Saturday, we operate from 9 to 1 p.m.
Locations, doctor.
So we only have one location right now, and I'm a little leery to tell you about the location, with the exception of just saying it's in the Lafayette Square Mall area, okay? Well, I'll give the address out, okay? It is 3685 Commercial Drive.
Yes,
3685 Commercial Drive. I'm saying that because it's appointment only. So we don't want people coming there and thinking that they can get their shot. We're trying to avoid that. I can get a person through getting their inoculation in 10 minutes if they've got their appointment. If they're not registered, it takes us 45 minutes to get their shot. And you have to remain 15 minutes after the shot to make sure that you don't have any side effects from the vaccine. And we want to make sure that everything is okay. Now, if you're a person that's had a severe allergy in the past, you may have to remain 30 minutes. But look how many people I can get through if they have an appointment.
What's the number?
Versus you don't have an appointment. It defeats our purpose. We got to get so many people getting their vaccinations. So
what's the number, Dr. Cain?
So you want to get an appointment, there are two ways you can do it.
All right.
We'd like you to register preferably online, a computer system. We want you to call Our Shot, one word, ourshot.in.gov. So ourshot.in.gov on your computer system. Now, a lot of us may not be computer literate, may not have a computer, so you can call 211 to register. You can give your information over the phone and they will set the appointment up for you.
2211.
211. That's all you got to do is call 211. And so you can give your information over the phone for them to register you.
If you give that website address one more time, the R Shot.
So Our Shot, OURSHOT, and it's one word now, OURSHOT.in.gov, G-O-V. So the .in represents Indiana, and .gov represents government.
So folks who call or folks who go there to register for an appointment, does that mean that it will be soon, or is this something that will happen at some point?
So it tells you what the appointment is. And so a lot of times they're easy to get in the same week. That's how good we're getting, okay? So, and we've got multiple sites. Every hospital system has a site too, where you can register and get your vaccination from the hospital. But hey, anyone has a paper. I know that the Indianapolis Star talked about the experience yesterday, and I know Channel 8, I believe, and a number of channels, almost all of them, I believe, were here. So if you watch your television shows, 7 of them were there yesterday. And it should be on their TV cameras.
Dr. King, we have about 3 minutes left. Talk to us about the schools. Folks are trying to get their kids back to school. You would hope for a 5% or less positivity rate before we really start moving ahead. How are we doing with regard to that?
So one point I got to make about the vaccine, sorry, and then we'll get back to the schools. So if anyone has had a severe allergic reaction, something called anaphylactic shock, where your tongue starts swelling, you may get short of breath, you have difficulty breathing, or your face swells. And some people's blood pressure drops. That's called an anaphylactic reaction that you may be allergic to shellfish foods, or you may be allergic to another medication that happened to you. We have to be very concerned about you getting that vaccine. And so we ask that you really talk to a primary care provider before you get that type of shot. There's going to be another vaccine coming down the pike in February that may have less issues with that particular element that's in these 2 current vaccines causing the anaphylactic shock. So I just want to be a warning. Make sure you tell us your history when you're signing up to get the vaccine. Although we're prepared for you. We got our crash cart. We can get a simple EpiPen. It's epinephrine that they can inject you that will reverse that side effect.
All right, Dr. Kane, what about?
All right, now get back to the schools. So let me tell you, we're excited about coming back to the schools this part of the semester, because we got a new metrics out there. In the past, if our community got a significant amount of positivity of spread in our community, we had to shut down all the schools. You know that we did that for Thanksgiving, where schools could only go virtual, okay? Not be there in person, except for the schools we were able to waive because of special circumstances. This new metric now is depending on what your positivity rate is in your individual school. So, if you're doing fantastic in your school, if you don't have hardly any high cases of positive cases in your school, you're not impacted by like what's happened totally in the community where I have to shut everybody down. I only have to worry about those schools that are having more community spread than what's out in the community, where we may ask them, we can't allow you to be in person until this is cleared up. So I think it's going to be very well received. I'm very excited about that. We've been pushed by the mayor and a number of the private schools, and John Elzerner, who's with the private schools, have really pushed for this. And I'm glad to say that we think we've got a great metrics, and we may be the only person across the country. I believe this. What I'm told, they're checking it out for me. The only person across the country that has this model for allowing schools to reopen and stay open.
Outstanding, Dr. Kane, and always a pleasure to have you on the show. We thank God for you, and we're praying for you and the health department. We hope to have you back to give us an update and talk more about what's happening.
So
Be back.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Protect yourself and others. Get that vaccine.
Our shot. All right. God bless you all. Have a good night. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Dr. Wayne Moore.
I'm Curtis Baker with WHMB TV 40. How you gentlemen doing?
Doing well.
Doing good. Doing good. Happy New Year to you
New Year.
again.
It was a great show today, you guys, with Dr. Virginia Kane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surgeon General knows
Yeah.
what she's talking about.
We just can't get enough information from her. We just got to have her back as often as we possibly can because of what we're going through right now with COVID-19 and the vaccine on the rise. So I know that you guys are going to have her back soon, correct?
Absolutely.
The communities within the state of Indiana needs to hear what she's saying.
Yeah.
And,
She's-
especially in central Indiana.
We'll have her back quite frequently because the way the vaccine is rolling out right now, if you're 80, you qualify. And of course, there's some other things, healthcare workers, first responders, et cetera. We want to keep people informed when their time is going to come and when they can register. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
And remember, this pastor loves the community and he wants the community to have as much information as they can.
And we'll let that be the final word. Thanks for joining us.